Dr. Johnny.
Hey, Nutritionist Mackenzie. Fancy seeing you here.
Nice to see you. So today I wanted to just dive in a little bit deeper. You know, we all hear that we should be exercising,
Absolutely.
but I really want to dive into like the why behind exercising. It's a good idea, but why?
So when you first brought this up to me, I thought it was a great idea, right? Because fitness and exercising impacts all levels of health, right? I spent a lot of time doing research on this, looking at Cleveland Clinic and Harvard Medical, and I'm really looking down why is exercise an essential aspect of health, right? Well, number one, when you look at it, exercise in itself, its purest form is it looks at, let's say, number one, cardiovascular health. Cardiovascular disease is still one of the number one causes of death in this country. So when you look at the heart as a muscle, fitness, whether it's walking, whether it's swimming, biking, lifting weights, that's going to help impact the heart health, right? But it's so much more than that. You can also argue that it's going to help with diabetes. Diabetes is one of the huge effects of nutrition, right? And how people store lifestyle and store glycogen and store glucose. And people are taking insulin to help lower that glucose blood sugar. But research shows that exercise is one of the best things to help regulate your blood sugar more. But then when you look at fitness as a whole, a lot of it does just come down to feeling good about yourself, right? When you exercise, you release endorphins, you release certain hormones that help regulate your systems, and it allows your body to live as strong and healthy as you want it, but there's different levels of exercise.
Yeah, so tell me, who needs to exercise?
Who needs to exercise?
Just like skinny people need to exercise?
Yeah, it's a great thing. You and I kind of talked about this, like, do skinny people need nutrition? Do skinny people need exercise? And the facts are yes. I mean, it's an easy yes, because even though, let's say, if you look at, let's say, BMI, everyone measures BMI. Am I underweight? Am I normal? Am I overweight? Well, if you are underweight, being skinny, even let's say in your elderly age or a normal age, exercise is going to help strengthen bones as well, right? I think that's one thing that we can talk about is if you're older and you're skinny and you don't think you need exercise, it's the opposite. You need it more so than any, because that means that your foundation, your structure, your bones, whether it's your spinal health or your leg strength, when you exercise, the goal is to help increase the osteogenic cells that then strengthen the stability of your structures. And so even if you're skinny, that's probably one of the best things. It's going to help prevent you from, let's say, if you fall, fracture a bone, right? So if you have that foundation of strength, you're going to have a stronger support system. And then also, here's the other aspects. When I look into exercise, it's for mental health. It's to help decrease anxiety. It's to help like all other aspects of releasing some of that tension. So if you're skinny, great, good for you. A lot of people might be jealous of you, but don't feel like you don't need to include exercise into your lifestyle, because it has to be an essential part of your life.
Right. So what you're saying is it's not all about body image, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. And maybe sometimes people exercise to lose weight, right? That's a huge aspect of it, right? New Year's hits, everyone has a New Year's resolution. They want to lose 5, 10, 20 pounds. They're going to do it through exercise. But this is essential to living the lifestyle. And that's why it's one of our 5 essentials here at Chiropractic First.
Right, absolutely. So you spoke a little bit about bone health and also like joint and arthritis. Can you speak a little bit more to that?
Right. So think about this, right? We have 206 bones in our body. There's articulations, whether it's the joints in your fingers or the joints in your spine. Exercise is there to, number one, to increase, it's called proprioception, which is the ability for your body to move and for you to recognize where your joints are in space and time. If you don't exercise and you get muscle atrophy, it increases the chance of arthritis to develop in your body. And a lot of times, I see this all the time in clients, one of the first places to start is they get arthritis in their thumbs and their fingers, because they're not lifting weights. They're not using resistance training to strengthen the joints. And that just leads to withered, weak joints, weak muscles, and our arthritis starts to settle in. And so if you start to exercise and move, you start to release hormones or endorphins and strengthen these areas, let's say for the hands, so that you decrease the chances of that arthritis getting worse or developing.
So getting worse, so somebody that already has arthritis definitely can exercise?
Absolutely. You have to start with the exercise that fits your lifestyle and your goals, though, right? I'm not going to put Mrs. Jones on a squat rack who has arthritis in her joints.
Yeah.
I might start her with something as simple as using resistance bands or using hand strengthening exercises that are like Dr. Adam talks about, using rubber bands on your fingers. It can be as simple as that.
Okay, good. So next question, a lot of times walking is the primary form of exercise.
Yeah.
And while walking has a lot of great benefits, would you consider that the only type of exercise that somebody should be doing?
So walking's great. It's getting nicer out. I think it's that time of the year. I would say like how many years ago that the Fitbits came out and everyone loved doing the steps, right? Yeah. I was looking up an article and it was kind of funny. They just showed walking up to just 30 minutes a day helps decrease the chances of death by almost 5 to 10 years, which is great. So
Wow.
we need as Americans increasing our life expectancy, but if you can't lift weights or if it's too much for you, they say set a goal. So if you're only doing walking, that's great. It's great for your cardiovascular health, but set a step goal, right? 10,000 steps is a great goal in a day because it hits around 5 miles and you can do that wherever. You know, I like to say if you're working on your steps, park in the furthest parking spot that you can go because you can exercise anywhere and walk up further. And it's a good aspect of a foundation of health and strength, I would say too.
Yeah, the more you can get those steps in, even if you're like, ordering groceries to be delivered, like you could go to the grocery store and get groceries just to get those steps in that way.
Absolutely. It's a great idea.
Good. So what about people that have shoulder and knee pain? Like knee pain specifically, what kind of things do you think they would do for exercise instead?
So this is great. I think Dr. Jake would have to say when you're looking at knee pain or shoulder pain, right? It's about turning on the muscles that need to be activated. Dr. Jake used the analogy of stupid muscles, which is funny. I like it because we as humans, we have everything that's connected for biomechanics. And let's say most people, with knee pain, it's because they have an extremely tight IT band, right? And they're not activating the vastus medialis or this inside quad muscle. And so when you're doing that, you need to use specific rehab exercises to strengthen the muscles that help centralize your body into better posture, better mechanics. Because if I see someone squatting and their knees are popping out and they're flaring their knees and they're putting all the pressure on their IT band, that person's going to blow out their knees a lot sooner. They might need a meniscal repair. They might need shockwave with Dr. Jake. My goal with doing Fitness Fridays is to help people understand the tools or the muscles that they should be activating.
Yeah.
So that's the knees, the vastus medialis muscle. For the shoulder, it's the rotator cuffs, but I think with Dr. Jake, him and I talk about activating the back muscles to help retract the shoulder blades, bring your traps down so we're not living in internal rotation versus being able to be in this position.
Okay, so again, you're saying exercise could help with that shoulder pain and that knee pain.
There's a trend if you're picking up on this. Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. Okay, so one more question for you. Do you, Dr. Johnny, always want to get your workouts in?
This is a great question. I think since having the birth of my daughter, life happens, right? There's seasons and there's reasons for seasons. And the most hard aspect is when I know I should be working out or I should be exercising and I'm laying in bed and that little thought comes in my head and it says, why don't you just lay in bed longer? You don't need to work out today.
Yeah.
And I call it having willpower. And don't be hard on yourself. There's times where you might need that rest. Your body might need that extra sleep. But if you set up a schedule or a routine, and Tony Robbins always says, your shoulds versus your must, right? Oh, I should be working out. I should have made it. He says you should all over yourself, which is funny because then if you become a must and you look at people and their exercises become their lifestyle, their identity, then even if it's raining out, I'll see people out biking because their shoulds have become a must when it comes to exercise. And if there's one more thing I want to share, it's going to be this image, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I got from the Cleveland Clinic. I want to share it with everyone here. But when we look at exercise has a drastic effect on everywhere in your body. If you're looking at this image right now, you're looking at the fact that it decreases inflammation, decreases fat mass, and increases insulin sensitivity in your fat cells, right? I think a big one is you look at the pancreas, and when we talk about diabetes, exercise increases the beta cell mass, which just means that there's more cells that produce insulin, which insulin is the one drug that we need in our body that pulls the glucose out of your bloodstream and then allows your muscles to start using it for energy. Of course, we look at the circulatory system. It looks at decreasing blood glucose, decreasing your H1C, decreasing your blood pressure. And then you look at the liver, right? I mean, Mackenzie deals with nutrition and detoxing the liver so much, but when you look at exercise, it actually decreases triglyceride accumulation, right? When you're looking at, oh, I have high cholesterol. Well, look at your ability to exercise. And then lastly, of course, muscles, the muscles that help move your body. When you exercise, that's going to also increase glucose uptake. So not only does exercise help raise your insulin levels and decrease your glucagon levels, muscles actually will use that glucose as a fuel source, and you're going to regulate your sugar levels so much more than that too. So I thought that was a great image to give you a good, broad physiology of what needs to be done. But yeah, this has been good. This has been good. I hope people take the knowledge and use it. And if they have any more questions, address them with me or Nutritionist Mackenzie.
Absolutely. So any movement is good movement.
Any movement's medicine. Movement's life. If we're not moving, we're dying. So let's continue to move in the right direction for you. And hopefully soon we'll do a flip interview where I get to ask you some nutrition questions too. That
sounds great. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Mackenzie.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Johnny.
See ya, everyone.
Bye.